Ian Ward, a man with a history of crime and intrigue, is no ordinary criminal. He knows how to take advantage of opportunities and play with the emotions of those around him to achieve his own goals. In the current situation, Ian's presence not only creates a rift between Tessa Porter and Mariah Copeland, but also threatens the future of little Aria, whom both consider an indispensable part of their small family. Scene at Society, a controversial action. It all started at Society, where Tessa was in a life-threatening situation. When Tessa was unconscious, Ian appeared, did not call 911 or seek professional help, but instead held her tightly in his arms. This action, although at first glance a protective gesture, left Mariah suspicious and extremely angry. Mariah quickly realized that this was not the action of a hero. To her, Ian was not the changed man he pretended to be. She could see clearly that this was all part of a larger scheme. Ian was trying to gain Tessa's trust in order to manipulate her and infiltrate their lives again. To Tessa, however, Ian's actions seemed admirable. She couldn't forget that he had been there for her when she was at her weakest. Tessa, who had always believed in redemption and the ability of people to change, wanted to think that Ian might not be the man Mariah had known. But this was what escalated the conflict between the two. Ian didn't stop there. He knew that Mariah's violent reaction had made Tessa even more confused. Ian used this opportunity to get closer to Tessa, even showing up frequently at Society, where Tessa frequented. He did everything he could to present himself as a changed man, someone who deserved a chance. Ian is not just trying to gain Tessa's trust. He is also aiming to shake Mariah's resolve. He thinks that if he can get Tessa to trust him, he will have a chance to break Tessa. Ian's presence not only endangers Tessa and Mariah's relationship, but also makes Mariah especially worried about baby Aria. Mariah, who has always felt responsible for protecting Aria, cannot bear the thought of Ian being a part of the child's life. Mariah worries that if Tessa continues to trust Ian, she may make decisions that are not safe for Aria. This could even lead to custody disputes. In Mariah's mind, Aria needs an environment of absolute safety, something Ian's presence can never provide. Tessa and Mariah's relationship, once rock solid, is now on the brink of collapse. Ian has succeeded in sowing doubt between them, making them no longer see things from the same perspective. Tessa wants to believe that Ian has changed, while Mariah believes that it is all a trap. Ian, as usual, uses every moment of this disagreement to get closer to his goal. He knows that if he can make Tessa turn her back on Mariah, he will not only destroy their relationship but also control their lives. The struggle between faith and reason, between love and protection, makes the future of Tessa, Mariah, and Aria uncertain. If Tessa does not listen to Mariah's warning, Tessa may truly fall apart. And if that happens, the question is, who will have custody of Aria? Mariah, with her love and determination, will never give Ian the opportunity to hurt her family. But if Tessa continues to trust Ian, it could lead to a battle not only over their relationship, but also over Aria's protection and custody. In the shadow of intrigue and danger, only time will tell whether love can triumph over Ian Ward's machinations. But one thing is certain, Ian will never give up until he gets what he wants. Subscribe to Yonder for the latest news on our channel. Ian Ward, the name that once haunted many people in Genoa City, appeared once again, bringing with him unpredictable troubles and tensions. This time, his goal was not only to manipulate weak souls, but also to destroy the relationship between Tessa Porter and Mariah Copeland, a love that was once considered unshakable. The unexpected encounter between Ian and this couple created a dramatic chain of events, pushing everything to the brink of chaos. Unexpected appearance. That morning, when Mariah and Tessa were walking with baby Aria in the park, neither of them expected to run into Ian Ward. Tessa was chatting happily with Mariah when her eyes stopped, frozen by a familiar but haunting figure. Ian stepped out from the corner, with a slight but meaningful smile. "Tessa, it's good to see you again," Ian said, his tone polite as if he were not the one who had committed countless crimes. His eyes swept over Mariah, noticing the burning hatred in her eyes. Mariah stood in front of Aria's stroller, as if to create an invisible barrier between Ian and her small family. "What are you doing here?" Her voice was cold, unable to hide her contempt. Tessa, somewhat surprised by the tension in the air, chose to be polite.
"Ian, I have to thank you.
If it weren't for you that day, I probably wouldn't be standing here." Tessa mentioned the incident where Ian saved her life in a recent accident. Her words made Mariah turn around, her eyes sparkling with indignation. Mariah smiled faintly, her eyes filled with sarcasm. Changed? Tessa, you don't know Ian as he really is. He was a master of pretending, and he always had a hidden agenda. Ian's dark past. Mariah couldn't forget what Ian had done. He wasn't just a manipulator, he was also someone who had ruined many lives, including her own. In the past, Ian had taken advantage of the vulnerability of people like her to control and destroy them. She knew all too well that Ian never did anything without a motive, and that saving Tessa's life was just the first step in a larger plot. Mariah remembered the sleepless nights she had spent fighting to escape Ian's shadow. She didn't want Tessa, the person she loved more than anyone, to fall into the same trap. And especially, she didn't want Arya, the innocent child, to become part of Ian's dangerous game. Tessa and the hesitation. But Tessa didn't see it that way. Having been through so much, Tessa wanted to believe that people could change. She couldn't forget the feeling of utter terror when she was trapped in a dangerous situation, and she couldn't forget Ian saving her. This made her feel indebted to him, despite Mariah's warnings. Ian stood there, silently observing the argument, his eyes shining with amusement. This was exactly what he wanted, to sow the seeds of doubt and conflict. He knew how to exploit Tessa's softness, and he also knew that Mariah's outbursts would only alienate Tessa further. While Mariah tried to stop Ian, another worry crept into her mind, the mysterious disappearance of Sharon Newman. Sharon, who had played an important role in Mariah's life, had disappeared without a trace. Mariah couldn't help but wonder if Ian had something to do with it. She knew that if Ian had his sights set on Tessa, Sharon was most likely in his sights too. This fear only fueled Mariah's urge to protect Tessa and Arya at all costs. But what could she do when Tessa seemed to be slowly trusting Ian? The feeling of helplessness only added to Mariah's despair. The encounter ended without a resolution. Ian left, but not before giving Tessa a meaningful look. Mariah stood there, feeling like she was losing a battle she couldn't even control. She knew she needed to find a way to get Tessa to see the truth, but would she have enough time? And could their relationship survive this test? Meanwhile, Ian continued with his plan. He knew that with a little patience and ingenuity, he could completely destroy what remained between Tessa and Mariah and take over their lives once more. The story is not over, and darkness continues to loom over Genoa City. But amidst all this turmoil, one big question remains unanswered: will love and trust be enough to overcome the dark plots? Or is it all just a game in the hands of a dangerous man like Ian Ward? Young in the Restless spoilers reveal that Ian Ward has long been a controversial figure, a scheming man with the ability to manipulate the minds and emotions of others. His latest appearance has thrown Tessa Porter and Mariah Copeland into a new spiral of tension, further straining their already fragile relationship. On a seemingly peaceful morning, Mariah and Tessa are out pushing baby Arya's stroller when they unexpectedly run into Ian. Ian's presence immediately stirs up feelings of anxiety in Mariah, while Tessa, in stark contrast, politely thanks him for saving her life in a previous incident. The conversation between the three quickly turns tense as Mariah, with her strong protective instincts for Tessa and Arya, cannot hide her hatred for Ian. Mariah angrily criticizes Ian, recalling his past misdeeds, and warns Tessa of the danger he poses. But Tessa, who seems to be under the influence of Ian's charm and manipulation, seems hesitant. She insists that Ian saved her life, that he may have changed. Tessa's response causes Mariah to explode with emotion, something she rarely does before. Mariah's past and anxiety. Mariah doesn't just see Ian as dangerous, she knows how he manipulates and infiltrates other people's lives. Mariah's past is tied to the deep damage Ian has done. He's not just an opportunist, Ian is someone who has controlled and destroyed the lives of those around him. Mariah is convinced that saving Tessa is just part of Ian's larger plan. He always knows how to appear as a changed man to gain trust, then slowly influence and destroy everything. For Mariah, it is not just a theory, it is the truth that she has experienced. In addition, Mariah is carrying a great anxiety about the disappearance of Sharon Newman, an important figure in her life. The panic and stress from Sharon's disappearance makes Mariah more sensitive to Ian's presence. She wants to protect not only Tessa but also Arya, the little child that she and Tessa have always loved. Tessa and the misconceptions. Tessa, on the other hand, seems unable to fully grasp the complexity of the situation. She sees Ian through his recent actions, saving her life, and tends to believe in his ability to change. This is not the first time Tessa has been influenced by someone's charm and eloquence. She was confused by Mariah's strong reaction, especially when Mariah openly threatened Ian during the conversation. Tessa's attitude made Mariah both disappointed and worried. With her experience living in Ian's shadow, Mariah understood that any hesitation, any chance that Tessa gave Ian could lead to serious consequences. But Tessa, perhaps because of her good nature and naivety, did not realize the seriousness of the situation. The encounter not only sparked a confrontation between Mariah and Ian but also pushed Mariah and Tessa's relationship to the brink of collapse. Mariah felt betrayed when Tessa did not stand by her side but showed sympathy for Ian. Tessa did not understand why Mariah could not let go of the past and thought that Mariah's outburst was unnecessary. Ian, as usual, stood on the sidelines with a scheming look in his eyes. He seizes every moment of conflict between Mariah and Tessa, knowing that it will only drive them further apart. And when they are apart, it will be easier for Ian to infiltrate Tessa's life. Ian's dangerous plan. It's not hard to see that Ian is using the situation to carry out his secret plans. He uses sweet words to confuse Tessa, and uses confrontation with Mariah to create a rift. Gradually, Ian will try to become someone Tessa can trust, while undermining Mariah's efforts to protect her. This encounter is just a small part of the complicated chain of events between Ian, Mariah, and Tessa. For Ian, everything seems to be just beginning. Although Mariah is very cautious, she also knows that to protect Tessa and Arya, she needs to find a way to make Tessa realize the danger of Ian before it's too late. But can Mariah overcome old wounds to keep her relationship with Tessa strong? And can Tessa wake up before Ian really causes a new disaster? The tension and conflict between the characters continues to escalate, opening up new stories full of drama and unpredictability. Only time will tell if love and commitment can prevail over Ian Ward's dark schemes.